You're not 1/4 of the way there. You're halfway through the war. Most people think wealth is linear, like if you hit $250,000, you're 25% of the way to a million. That's how poor brains do math. Straight lines, easy milestones, dopamine checkpoints. But compounding doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in curves, slow then violent. Here's the psychological shift. The first 250K is usually built by you. Sacrifice, boring deposits, saying no, grinding. The next 250K starts getting built by the money, and that's where the danger starts. Because $250,000 is the point where your portfolio begins approaching escape velocity. Money starts moving faster than you do. But you're not rich yet, not even close. You're just rich enough to make really expensive mistakes and not rich enough to recover quickly. This is the most dangerous phase of wealth. 1. The hook, the halfway point energy. At the beginning, progress feels fake. You invest for months and it's like nothing happens. Then you wake up one day and the account is up $2,000 and you didn't lift a finger. That's compounding warming up. At 250K, you're standing at the line where momentum starts doing the heavy lifting, and it messes with your head because the inputs don't feel proportional anymore. You're still the same person, same job, same insecurities, same need for approval, but now your money can swing in a day what you used to fight for in a month. That gap between your identity and your portfolio, that gap is where people blow it. 2. The illusion of arrival. Paper wealth feels like real wealth. A $250,000 portfolio can jump $5,000 or $8,000 in a single day with normal market volatility. And if you've never seen that before, it hits like a drug. Because $8,000 is not a number. $8,000 is rent, a car payment for a year, a family vacation, a life upgrade. And that's when the illusion shows up. You start thinking the money is yours in the same way a paycheck is yours. It's not. Those are paper gains. They can vanish in a week. But people start spending them like cash. We deserve a $10,000 vacation. Let's upgrade the car. Let's move somewhere nicer. Let's finally look like what we feel like. And now you're in the appearance prison, spending real dollars to maintain a lifestyle based on imaginary games. Brutal truth. A car is not a reward. It's a depreciating liability with leather seats. And the truly wealthy, they're not racing to prove anything. They're often driving reliable 5-year-old Toyotas or Hondas because freedom is the flex, not the lease. Instagram teaches you to look rich. Wealth teaches you to stay invisible. 3. The overconfidence monster. Dunning-Kruger. This is where the overconfidence monster wakes up. Because if you got to 250K, you did something right, and your brain immediately upgrades that into, I'm not just disciplined, I'm talented. So people stop being boring index fund investors. They start evolving. They dabble, individual stock picking, options, crypto flyers, private deals. My buddy has this opportunity nonsense. And the tragedy is the timing. They start trying to be clever exactly when the stakes become life-altering. You're no longer making mistakes with hundreds of dollars. You're making mistakes with years. At 250K, you don't need a new strategy. You need the emotional maturity to keep doing what works when it stops feeling exciting. 4. The math of the loss. Expensive mistakes delete years. Let's do the math that nobody wants to face. A 10% loss on a $5,000 account is $500. It hurts, but it's recoverable. It's a lesson. A 10% loss on $250,000 is $25,000. That's not a lesson. That's a timeline rewrite. That can delete 2 to 5 years of disciplined progress depending on your savings rate and market conditions. And here's the part that should haunt you in a good way. Once you have compounding momentum, the biggest threat isn't the market, it's you. Not your intelligence, your emotions. Impatience, ego, comparison, the need to feel ahead, the need to prove you deserve it. The portfolio becomes big enough that your psychology becomes the limiting factor. 5. Acceleration anxiety and the comparison trap. Catch up is how people crash. Hitting 250K feels incredible until you meet someone with 500K, or you open YouTube and see a 22-year-old claiming they're worth $3 million selling courses, and now you're in the comparison trap. You start asking poisonous questions. Why am I not further? What am I missing? Should I be doing more? Should I leverage? Should I take on debt? Should I swing bigger? That feeling has a name: acceleration anxiety. It's the panic that your current pace isn't fast enough, even though your pace is working. So people start borrowing against their future to impress strangers in the present. They leverage portfolios, they finance lifestyles, they turn a stable compounding machine into a fragile tower. And catastrophe doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives like this: one bad year, one margin call, one can't miss trade that missed. And suddenly you're not building wealth anymore. You're rebuilding confidence. 6. The hidden power of 250K. You're not free, but you're no longer trapped. Now, let's be fair. 250K isn't retirement money for most people, but it is optionality money. This is the part no one talks about. At this level, you're no longer trapped by your paycheck. You can take a career risk, switch industries, negotiate harder, relocate for a better life, leave a toxic job without immediate panic, invest in skills without desperation. This is what wealth is for. Not looking rich, not upgrades, not applause. Freedom. And 250K is the first number where freedom starts whispering to you. Quietly, privately, without validation. That's why stealth wealth matters here. Tell no one, because once people know, they start watching you, then you start performing, then you're back in the appearance prison, except now it's social. Protect the milestone, protect your relationships, protect your identity. 7. The stay boring solution. The second $250,000 comes faster. Here's the truth that separates builders from blow-ups. The way you got to 250K is the way you get to 1 million, not with cleverness, with repetition. This is where the boring is beautiful philosophy becomes a weapon. You don't need to be a genius. You need to be unshakable. And you need systems, because willpower gets tired. Remember this, the 15-second rule. You've got about 15 seconds after your paycheck hits before your brain starts rationalizing nonsense. I worked hard, I deserve it. It's just this once. I'll invest what's left. No. At 250K, that mindset is how you stall out for a decade. Automation is the only thing that protects you from yourself. Automatic investing, automatic transfers, automatic boundaries. Because the enemy at 250K is not a lack of information, it's emotion wearing a finance costume. And if you stay boring, if you keep doing the exact same disciplined behaviors that built the first $250,000, then you'll notice something almost unfair. The second 250K tends to arrive roughly twice as fast as the first, because now the machine is heavy enough to move on its own. That's escape velocity. Closing. Freedom over flex. If you're at 250K, you're standing at the most dangerous number in wealth building because you feel rich before you are. Your portfolio moves faster than your identity can handle. The overconfidence monster starts talking. One mistake can delete years. Comparison makes you want to accelerate into a wall. So here's your job. Stay boring, stay automated, stay quiet. Drive the paid-off Toyota. Ignore the applause economy. Stop trying to look wealthy and start trying to become unbreakable. Because the goal isn't a screenshot, it's freedom. And freedom doesn't care what you drive.